Hey everyone, this is going to be a very quick and basic DPS guide. I don't consider myself as the best of the best, but I believe I can still offer something to those who are struggling. Aside from farming to get god rolls on your items, here are some basic tips to improve your DPS. Focus on what your build is about. A lot of people want to have a little bit of everything. They want crit, ailment chance, archon damage, weapon technique damage, and weak points. Decide on one or two and build around it. If your build revolves around weak points, then only have items that increases weak point damage. Otherwise, your damage multipliers will be too spread out, when in fact you could be dishing out big damage. This is my weapon technique damage build that has plus 353% weapon technique damage. This has allowed me to potentially deal 21k per hit to hard macros. Do not sleep on blessings and marks. People tend to forget about its existence. A blessing of power can increase your overall damage by 15 to 20%. I don't have an exact number for this because my outcome was different for one light attack with and without the blessing for the dual blades and hammer. You can easily get these blessings from augments or just primaries in certain items. There are items that grants greater blessings as well, although I'm not sure if they do stack. I have tried this with the Drasku's Legacy's Southern technique to trigger a blessing of infusion and the Wailing Fury to breach an enemy for the greater blessing of infusion. It seems to have overwritten the buff and hence do not stack, but this is still too early to tell because infusion increases my ailment chance and there's no visual interpretation for that. There is a sword that gives greater blessing of power, but sadly I am not lucky to have that yet, so I'm unable to test it out. But with this, you can imagine the importance of just including these buffs and debuffs for your build. Don't only look at legendaries. Look at purples, blues, and greens as well. With the enchant function, you can enchant any item into a legendary, so look at the primary stats of lower rarity items and what they have to offer. For example, purples like the Lion Talisman, which increases your weapon technique charge on crit, blues like the Mark of Duelist Amulet that heals you whenever you crit, and even a green charm that increases your crit chance. Also, a thing to add is that you get a secondary roll for each time you enchant it to a higher rarity. This is kind of a no-brainer here because everyone knows an upgraded gear will have more DPS. So this is more for those who are too afraid to upgrade their gear fully because of how expensive it can be. At the third tier of upgrading, you can choose one of the three current secondary lines you have on the item and add on to that stat. We aren't exactly sure if it is a bug or there is a cap to the stat. Some have speculated that it will only take into effect if its total doesn't go above its max stat. But for the sake of DPS, we would just complain and risk it anyway. At the 5th tier, you are given 5 choices for the 4th line. Don't worry, as it will add on to the new line, so it should not be bugged. This additional line could potentially add even more DPS. If you're dirt poor like me after making this video, then my suggestion to you is to upgrade your weapons first. Being able to put out DPS means you are able to kill bosses quicker, which means you are able to farm more. This endless cycle of grinding and suffering will end much quicker. So take a chance and don't be a burden to yourself. I noticed this tends to split people's minds, but similar to your other equipments, you can gain an additional stat line on your augments to improve your DPS. You can get one of the other 2 attributes whenever you upgrade an augment fully. This means if you upgrade a vitality augment, you can add a might or spirit stat to it. This is about an additional 90 attribute increase per augment. You don't need to have something equipped in every augment slot. Yes, you lose out on 100 attribute stat, a primary, and a potential good secondary roll. But if a 30 drain Shirley or 30 drain Carnage is going to improve your overall damage over a random primary and a secondary stat, then it's more than welcome. Just a PSA, some of the augments are currently bugged. Not only do we have a 0% rampage bonus, but those that increases stats by having adjacent augments as well. As you can see, I did not gain any bonus might from the adjacent augments. Just because someone says that this is the best build or the current meta, it does not mean it is for you. You could be missing an item that you really need for that build, so you'll just have to work around that. Part of playing this game is to build something fun to keep yourself entertained. If you only play meta builds, you may lose interest fast. There is also a bunch of items out there and not enough people talking about pulls. That's it for this video. It took me a while to make this because this game has a serious deficit of information. I'm also busy farming for every item and build testing so I can make more content as accurate as possible. If you have enjoyed this video and it has somewhat helped you, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you think I missed out on any information or if you have any questions. And lastly, subscribe for more.